Page number 98. Or it is taken up as organic compound which have been prepared by bacteria from atmospheric nitrogen. 6.2.2 Heterotrophic nutrition. Each organism is adapted to its environment. The form of nutrition differs depending on the type and availability of food material as well as how it is obtained by the organism. For example, whether the food source is stationary, such as grass, or mobile, such as a deer, would allow for differences in how the food is accessed and what is the nutritive apparatus used by a cow and a lion. There is a range of strategies by which the food is taken in and used by the organism. Some organisms break down the food material outside the body and then absorb it. Examples are fungi like bread molds, yeast, and mushrooms. Others take in whole material and break it down inside their bodies. What can be taken in and broken down depends on the body design and functioning. Some other organisms derive nutrition for plant or animal without killing them. This parasitic nutritive strategy is used by a wide variety of organisms like Cuscuta, amarbale, ticks, lice, leeches, and tapeworms. 6.2.3 How do organisms obtain their nutrition? Since the food and the way it is obtained differ, the digestive system is different in various organisms. In single-celled organisms, the food may be taken in by the entire surface, but as the complexity of the organism increases, different parts become specialized to perform different functions. For example, amoeba takes in food using temporary finger-like extension of the cell surface which fuse over the food particle forming a food vacuole. Figure 6.5. Inside the food vacuole, complex substances are broken down into simpler ones, which then diffuse into the cytoplasm. The remaining undigested material is moved to the surface of the cell and thrown out. In Paramecium, which is also a unicellular organism, the cell has a definite shape and food is taken in at a specific spot. Food is moved to this spot by the movement of cilia, which cover the entire surface of the cell. 6.2.4 Nutrition in human beings. The alimentary canal is basically a long tube extending from the mouth to the anus. In figure 6.6, we can see that the tube has different parts. Various regions are specialized to perform different functions. What happens to the food once it enters our body? We shall discuss this process here. Page number 99. Activity 6.3. Take 1 ml starch solution 1% in 2 test tubes A and B. Second, add 1 ml saliva to test tube A and leave both test tubes undisturbed for 20 to 30 minutes. Next, now add a few drops of dilute iodine solution to the test tube. Next, in which test tube do you observe a color change? Next, what does this indicate about the presence or absence of starch in the 2 test tubes? Next, what does this cell tells us about the action of saliva on starch? We eat various types of food which has to pass through the same digestive tract. Naturally, the food has to be processed to generate particles which are small and of the same texture. This is achieved by crushing the food with our teeth. Since the lining of the canal is soft, the food is also wetted to make its passage smooth. When we eat something we like, our mouth waters. This is actually not only water but a fluid called saliva secreted by the salivary gland. Another aspect of the food we ingest is its complex nature. If it is to be absorbed from the alimentary canal, it has to be broken into smaller molecules. This is done with the help of biological catalysts called enzymes. The saliva contains an enzyme called salivary amylase that breaks down starch, which is a complex molecule, to give simple sugar. The food is mixed thoroughly with saliva and moved around the mouth while chewing by the muscular tongue. It is necessary to move the food in a regulated manner along the digestive tube so that it can be processed properly in each part. The lining of canal has muscles that contract rhythmically in order to push the food forward. These peristaltic movements occur all along the gut. From the mouth, the food is taken to the stomach through the food pipe or esophagus. The stomach is a large organ which expands when food enters it. The muscular wall of the stomach helps in mixing the food thoroughly with more digestive juices. The digestion in stomach is taken care of by the gastric gland present in the wall of the stomach. These release hydrochloric acid, a protein digestive enzyme called pepsin, and mucus. The hydrochloric acid creates an acidic medium which facilitates the action of the enzyme pepsin. What other function do you think is served by the acid? The mucus protects the inner lining of the stomach from the action of the acid under normal condition. Page number 100. We have often heard adults complaining about acidity. Can this be related to what has been discussed above? The exit of food from the stomach is regulated by a sphincter muscle, which releases it in a small amount into the small intestine from the stomach. The food now enters the small intestine. This is the longest part of the alimentary canal, which is fitted into a compact space because of extensive coiling. The length of the small intestine differs in various animals depending on the food they eat. Herbivores eating grass needs a longer small intestine to allow the cellulose to be digested. Meat is easier to digest. Hence, carnivores like tigers have a shorter small intestine. The small intestine is the site of the complete digestion of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. It receives the secretion of the liver and pancreas for this purpose. The food coming from the stomach is acidic and has to be made alkaline for the pancreatic enzymes to act. Bile juice from the liver accomplishes this in addition to acting on fats. Fats are present in the intestine in the form of large globules which make it difficult for enzymes to act on them. Bile salt breaks them down into smaller globules, increasing the efficiency of enzyme action. This is similar to the emulsifying action of soap on dirt that we have learnt about in chapter 4. The pancreas secretes pancreatic juice which contains enzymes like trypsin for digesting protein and lipase for breaking down emulsified fat. The walls of the small intestine contain glands which secrete intestinal juice. The enzyme present in it finally convert the protein to amino acids, complex carbohydrates into glucose, and fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Digestive food is taken up by the walls of the intestine. The inner lining of the small intestine has numerous finger-like projections called villi, which increase the surface area for absorption. The villi are richly supplied with blood vessels which take the absorbed food to each and every cell of the body, where it is utilized for obtaining energy, building up new tissues, and the repair of old tissues. The unabsorbed food is sent into the large intestine where its wall absorbs more water from this material. The rest of the material is removed from the body via the anus. The exit of this waste material is regulated by the anal sphincter. The column more to know. Dental caries. Dental caries or tooth decay causes gradual softening of enamel and dentine. It begins when bacteria acting on sugars produce acids that soften or demineralizes the enamel. Masses of bacterial cell together with food particles stick to the teeth to form dental plaque. Saliva cannot reach the tooth surface to neutralize the acid as plaque covers the teeth. Brushing the teeth after eating removes the plaque before the bacteria produce acids. If untreated, microorganisms may invade the pulp, causing inflammation and infection. Page number 101. Questions. Number 1. What are the differences between autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition? Question 2. Where do plants get each of the raw material required for photosynthesis? Question 3. What is the role of the acid in our stomach? Question 4. What is the function of digestive enzyme? Question 5. How is the small intestine designed to absorb digestive food? 6.3. Respiration. Activity 6.4. 1. Take some freshly prepared lime water in a test tube. Next, blow air through this lime water. Next, note how long it takes for the lime water to turn milky. Next, use a syringe or pichkari to pass air through same fresh lime water taken in another test tube. Please see in figure 6.7 on page number 101 only. Next, note how long it takes for this lime water to turn milky. Next, what does this tells us about the amount of carbon dioxide in the air that we breathe out. Activity 6.5. Take some fruit juice or sugar solution and add some yeast to take this. Take this mixture in a test tube fitted with one holed cork. Next, fit the cork with a bent glass tube. Dip the free end of the glass tube into a test tube containing freshly prepared lime water. Next, what change is observed in the lime water and how long does it take for this change to occur? Next, what does this tells us about the product of fermentation? We have discussed nutrition in organism in the last section. The food material taken in during the process of nutrition is used in cells to provide energy for various life processes. Diverse organisms do this in different ways. Some use oxygen to break down glucose completely into carbon dioxide and water. Some use other pathways that do not involve oxygen. Figure 6.8. In all cases, the first step is to breakdown of glucose, a 6-carbon molecule, into a 3-carbon molecule called pyruvate. This process takes place in the cytoplasm. Further, the pyruvate may be converted into ethanol and carbon dioxide. This process takes place in yeast during fermentation. Since this process takes place in the absence of air, in oxygen, it is called anaerobic respiration. Breakdown of pyruvate using oxygen takes place in the mitochondria. Page number 102. This process breaks up the 3-carbon pyruvate molecule to give 3 molecules of carbon dioxide. The other product is water. Since this process takes place in the presence of air, oxygen, it is called aerobic respiration. The release of energy in this aerobic process is a lot greater than in the anaerobic process. Sometimes when there is a lack of oxygen in our muscle cells, another pathway for the breakdown of pyruvate is taken. Here the pyruvate is converted into lactic acid, which is also a 3-carbon molecule. This buildup of lactic acid in our muscle during sudden activity causes cramp. Please see figure 6.8 on this page. Breakdown of glucose by various pathways. The energy released during cellular respiration is immediately used to synthesize a molecule called ATP, which is used to fuel all other activities in the cell. In these processes, ATP is broken down, giving rise to a fixed amount of energy which can drive the endothermic reactions taking place in the cell. In the column More to Know, ATP. ATP is the energy currency for most cellular processes. The energy released during the process of respiration is used to make an ATP molecule from ADP, an inorganic phosphate. ADP plus P is equal to ADP minus P is equal to ATP, phosphate. Endothermic process in the cell then use this ATP to drive the reactions. When the terminal phosphate linkage in ATP is broken using water, the energy equivalent to 30.5 kJ at mol is released. Think of how a battery can provide energy for many different kinds of uses. It can be used to obtain mechanical energy, light energy, electrical energy, and so on. Similarly, ATP can be used in the cell for the contraction of muscle, protein synthesis, conduction of nervous impulses, and many other activities. Since the aerobic respiration pathway depends on oxygen, aerobic organisms need to ensure that there is sufficient intake of oxygen. We have seen that plants exchange gases through stomata, and the large intercellular spaces ensure that all cells are in contact with air. Carbon dioxide and oxygen are exchanged by diffusion here. They can go into cells or away from them and out into the air. Thank you, students. Please listen twice for better understanding. Hope you liked the video and subscribe for upcoming videos.